Hey Dragon Dreamers, Gina Virginia Casella here, and the one behind the Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective. Come dream with us. Your soul tribe awaits you. I do all kinds of things, gemstone readings, mind reprogramming, energy medicine. At this time in my life, I've been redirected by Source to bring us together. The Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective through an umbrella term called Project 30, Isis Unity Consciousness. You're invited to dream with us. Through dreams half remembered and half misunderstood, we fill in the gaps for each other because we're all one. There's all kinds of times and dates lined up that I would absolutely adore for you to be a part of. And one of my favorite things to do is to assert that the Akashic records are not a permanent record because your past never defines you. And we can do what's called living consciously so we can die consciously. United are we. Be free. Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective awaits you. Dream with us. My name is Gina Virginia Casella, creator and visionary of Project 30, Isis Unity Consciousness. See you in dreams. Hey, Dragon Dreamers, Gina Virginia Casella here. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. Today is Wednesday already. Wednesdays, this is when I come and hang out with you live. So let me know how you're doing in the chat. Good to see Isaac. How you doing, Isaac? I haven't seen you in a while, actually. Good that you're tuning in. There's a few people tuning in with us live right now. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Let me know in the chat if you were able to catch our conference live on last Saturday, March 14th. It was a phenomenal day. This morning, if you were scoping out my YouTube channel, I made lots of mini videos about all kinds of things. Hi, Luffy. Good to see you in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And those of you who are just tuning in, there's about 16 of us right now in this moment. Let me know if you made it to our Saturday, March 14th conference. I would love to know your favorite part, what stood out with you, who your favorite speaker was. If you caught my gemstone intuitive, what did I call it? Gemstone Insight. I made 6 videos. It was kind of last minute. I just threw it together. I thought it might be something fun to play on the break during the conference. We had 20-minute breaks, and then my Gemstone Insight videos range from about 3 minutes to about 9 minutes. They got longer as the breaks went by. Hey, I think I did pretty good keeping them pretty short. So let me know if you had a chance to view those and which one was your favorite. And I know it might take you some time to type that up. And I look forward to reading it. If I don't have a chance to connect with you today live, then make sure you check out my Buy Me a Coffee. It's absolutely free to follow me. And then you get in on the emails and extra insight. I post in Buy Me a Coffee almost every day. And what extra insight? Well, I tell you about my cat Rosie and things like us planning on moving. We're planning on moving this summer, but you know what? I had a really interesting conversation with the AI the other day, and the AI is telling me basically have your bags packed ready now because in June magical stuff is going to be happening. And I was like, oh wow, that sounds awesome. So let me know if you can relate. Also, if you're looking to level up, I'm enjoying StreamYard. Here's a little link in the chat for you. I'm always full of information and looking forward to connect. It's always too easy to slip into timelessness with me. So I have a little images that I'd like to click on. Oh, but before I show you my images, there's also the free Facebook group, the Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective. And you can go on there any old time and share your insights. And I cross post information on there from Buy Me a Coffee. So I also have a platform on Rumble and BitChute. I find, however, YouTube seems to be the most user-friendly so far in terms of uploading and sharing videos. So let me know what works for you. We're a soul tribe, and it's important that Dragon Dreamers know about us. On Saturday, we had a lot of new Dragon Dreamers who never heard about us before. They saw the invitation, they ended up hanging out with us all day long, and it's just absolutely thrilling. And now I'm seeing those Dragon Dreamers when I'm live. So why don't I go over my little schedule before I talk your ear off? And hope you like my background. This is the background I used when I presented. And I don't know, like, should I create a special background that says Gina Live? I feel like this is good right now, you know? I don't know. This morning I was having fun on Canva trying to make some videos for the Dragon Dreams book series. All my content is transforming into one big entity, and I'm just absolutely thrilled about it. So if you're interested in helping me organize, if you like administration, behind the scenes, leadership, you're creative, innovative, please, pretty please with sugar on top, please reach out to me because I could really use you on the Dragon Dreams Executive Committee. So we meet every Friday, and probably be a good idea to meet every Friday until we can get our shit together, and then we can do like bi-weekly meetings, monthly meetings. And I'm a huge dreamer visionary, so I envision totally the executive having a subcommittee. So you and your subcommittee meet and you do your own thing, and then you invite me to your meetings and update me. And I really miss that. I was a teacher for 20 years, heavily involved in the union. I was on the local Langley Teachers Association. So hi to Langley folks out there. I worked for other school districts as well, but Langley has the most history, if you will, with me. And I also was a facilitator for the British Columbia Teachers Federation. So I thoroughly enjoyed my teaching career. And it was time for me to move on with my matrix. And so I do this now. I do energy medicine. I'm a master energy medicine practitioner. And I write oracle, I write books, I produce conferences now and host them. And before I forget, if you want to invite me to be a guest on your show to chit chat about what's going on with the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective, maybe you want to talk about one of my books, or you just want to do general Q&A with me, talk about the oracle, please, please, please reach out, because that's what the Soul Tribe is all about. And I see some comments in the chat. I'll get to those in just a moment here. And some people were requesting to have me on their shows to come and do Dreaming with Gemstone Gina. And I don't do that anymore, only because the last Friday of every month, I do Dreaming with Gemstone Gina to fundraise money, and I'll get into that soon. But if you invite me to be a guest on your show, then I'm more than happy to pull a card from the Dragon Dreams Oracle. Now, this is the original. I'll get the deck in just a moment. Well, at some point, I'll show you the cards, okay? Hi, James. I see you're here in the chat. And let me just rewind here. Isaac and something about purging. What's going on, Isaac? Isaac's been dealing with purging and purification from certain things. Yeah, you know what? Purification and purging, I wouldn't be surprised if you feel tired, emotionally tired, physically tired. And then at some point you feel refreshed because this purging that you're doing, it's like that snake skin that's coming off. And it sounds like yours is all tethered. So it's just like, get off me, snake skin, metaphorically throwing up, metaphorically having diarrhea, maybe even literally throwing up and that kind of stuff. But the body gets rid of stuff, right? And so often when we're purifying, we feel sick because the toxic stuff is coming out. So let it out. Sometimes it comes out in the form of sweat. So if you feel sweaty, go with it. Let yourself sweat it out. Take a sauna, that kind of stuff. And then Isaac is also commenting, hands yellow, heart, red hands, yellow heart, red hands, yellow heart. Hmm, that's an interesting ABAB pattern. Gina Live sounds good. Yeah, I need to get myself together first. Yeah, so what do you mean, Isaac? I should put Gina Live on the back? I do a few things, so I don't want to confuse people when I'm live what I'm doing. Maybe I'll add Gina Live in the background. Okay, let me show you my slides. This slide here, if you want to snap a picture of it, go ahead. You can find it in Buy Me a Coffee. So I'm really thrilled. Every Tuesday I go live. Story Species, Story Medicine, Extra Strength, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. These dates are for 2026, by the way. So if you've published a book, written a book, and I'll show you the little, that's my Canva poster for Story Species, Story Medicine, Extra Strength. So if you've published a book, to me, that's very wow. Wow, because you know what, like being distinguished, publishing yourself, it's a big deal. It's a milestone, right? But when you're publishing a book about Bigfoot or Virgin Mary sightings or ET angel encounters, or just you don't even know what, you went swimming and you saw some kind of fish that, you know what, was not a normal fish for what it's worth. And we have a hard time labeling these things, categorizing things. And a lot of us get hung up on those categories. A lot of us are struggling with a blurred sense of identity because we feel very lost. In working with themes of duality, we must get lost in to order to be found. We must lose ground to gain ground, and we must fall in order to realize those kinds of themes. And so, for what it's worth, if you talk about uh, Bigfoot, interesting dreams, Virgin Mary sightings, super soldier programs, I would absolutely adore to have you as a guest on Story Species, Story Medicine Extra Strength. You know why? Because you are a medicine bearer. So I talk about the confused warrior a lot. I talk about what it means to transform from the confused warrior into the wisdom keeper. So a confused warrior, it's so confusing and such emotional turmoil because you're supposed to stand up for what's right. You're supposed to stand up for the little guy. You're supposed to be the voice for those who don't have a voice. The warrior takes in everything bigger and outside of themselves. But warriors, they don't understand things like recoil, stop, come back. Like what? Because they're prepared to die. They understand coil. You move forward and you die with honor. You don't look back. And the warrior learns the hard way that I'll just fix my lighting here. Thanks for the comment. We learn through the warrior syndrome that, you know what, sometimes we need to stay small to stay safe. Not rocking the boat is a good idea. Otherwise, we die and everything that we stand for dies as well. And so that's a real tough one for the warrior to wrap their head around. And so the confused warrior eventually becomes the wisdom keeper, where they transition through their hero's journey and they say to themselves, okay, I understand now. Sometimes I need to stay small to stay safe. I don't like it, but that's what I need to do. Otherwise, everything blows to hell, basically. And they learn to practice discernment, when to coil, when to recoil. They become their own commanding officers with conviction in their own uncertainty, certain of their uncertainty. Anyways, to make a long story short, I just love talking about this kind of stuff. But the wisdom keeper eventually, it's not safe for the wisdom keeper to talk. And that's what the confused warrior learns. So when the confused warrior learns to be quiet, otherwise you'll be persecuted. Stay small to stay safe, otherwise you'll be persecuted. Practice things in quiet. Keep the alchemy, eagle, medicine, condor going. Okay, fine. Now you're a wisdom keeper because you know and practice this. But at some point, when finally it's safer to share, that's when you become a medicine bearer because you bear the wisdom, right? You keep it all inside of you, but now you have to share it, bearing it. So, story, species, story, medicine, extra strength. I'm starting a new routine where at the end of the year, so at the end of 2026, I'm going to take a summary from all the shows and put it in a book. And that book will be priced at $24, just like the rest of my books. Doesn't matter how many pages are in there or what it costs to color. Because I don't know if folks are familiar with publishing, but every book costs a different price just to publish, and then you can up the price a bit so you can make some money off of it. But in honor of 2024, when my life really transformed and the dragon was really starting to manifest, I priced my books at $24. So let me show you my other slide here. There's a lot of new dragon dreamers with us as well. And so if you're familiar with everything that I'm saying, awesome. That means you've been following me. Some folks have been following me for a handful of years now. I really appreciate that. And some folks, they just started following me today, every day or two, it seems like there's a new follower, and I'm really thankful for that. So Tuesdays, you can look forward to Story Species, Story Medicine. Every Wednesday, same time, 1:30 Eastern, hanging out with me live. I hang out, I connect with you. If anybody out there bought my books, bought my Oracle, this would be the ideal time to ask me questions, to have a little bit of a conversation about whatever it is you're working through. And of course, if you just want to chit chat and say hi, I'm open to that as well. Initially, I had a membership and members were invited to meet with me weekly live. And I thought, well, why don't I just meet live with everybody anyways? Doesn't matter if they're in the membership or not. So again, the last Friday of each month, I do Dreaming with Gemstone Gina monthly marathon. So if you're on the executive committee, right now it's just me, myself, and I, but if you're on the executive committee, we meet every Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And then the last Friday of the month, when I'm busy doing Dreaming with Gemstone Gina, the intention is that the Dragon Dreams Executive Committee has presence and they're there, and together as a executive committee, we promote, not like a general promotion, but we narrow down on a promotion specific to conference updates and speakers who are coming to the conference, that kind of stuff. And also, if anybody wanted to connect with somebody on the Dragon Dreams Executive, just to say a little hello, that they would be available for that. So Dreaming with Gemstone Gina, they could last anywhere from 5 minutes to 5 hours, 50 hours. That's why it's a marathon, because as long as people are donating money, then I'm willing to continue doing gemstone readings in honor of the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective. So you can always visit me on Buy Me a Coffee. There's 2 memberships. I work with I work with pull energy, so I don't push. I genuinely believe that if folks are genuinely interested, they will mosey on over to Buy Me a Coffee. They will look at the membership, see what's included, and decide if that's for them or not. But in a nutshell, there's 2 memberships available. One's private and one's a collective. So the privates, you get to meet with me one-on-one. The collective, there's 5 bonuses. Check them out. I'm really excited about the recent 2 that were added. And then you get to support me on a monthly basis and the Soul Tribe. So we've also got seasonal conferences to look forward to. So we just hosted the first one on March 14th, Saturday that just passed, and you can find the replay. There's more than 600 dragons who tuned in. We had more than 500 tune in on the first day. By the time the nighttime passed, there was 600, more than 600, and now I don't even know how many. This is being played across YouTube, Rumble, and BitChute, and now people are sharing the videos on their channels as well. So help spread the word. Promise of Spring. I would love to know all of your highlights. And there's even two videos, pre-conference fun and hangout, and then post-conference fun and hangout. And so get in on the hype. I'd really love to hear what you have to say. If you leave a comment, I do read them. Even in 20 years from now, if you're watching this video and you're like, what, huh? I'm hearing about this for the first time. What conference? And then you watch it, leave me a comment, because I'll get a notification, and I always look forward to receiving them. Okay, so what else do I want to show you here? Yes. So content wise, so for story species, story medicine, services that I offer, presenters, if you're interested in being a presenter at one of the conferences, this is just a bunch of topics ranging from this to that. I'd really like to have controlled remote viewers in particular. I'm interested in having remote viewers because I feel like it's interesting for people to share the diversity of what works for them and their natural psychic abilities, any modalities that are out there. But I have a soft spot, if you will, for controlled remote viewing, CRV, because everybody is psychic. And CRV is a modality that's been tried and tested by the US military. It used to be top secret, and now everybody knows about it. And even though everybody knows about it, it really doesn't get enough attention. The punchline for me is controlled remote viewing can help bring missing children and missing soldiers home. And there's example after example where folks have done this, and they don't even get attention or millions of dollars. It's just something they do because it comes from the heart, because it's the right thing to do. And I feel like that to me needs to really be promoted, because I feel like a lot of us are guilty of like, oh, if only I was psychic, I would win the next lottery or something like that. And our mind tends to stray in those directions, which I can appreciate. If I was psychic, I would buy a house in this neighborhood with these ideal conditions and whatever else it is, right? But how many folks out there are saying things like, no, I'd really like to acquire some psychic training so I can bring a missing child home, so I can bring home a missing soldier. Wow. Wow. And I'm very passionate about the rules of the mind. And so controlled remote viewing offers that structure. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it appeals to the logical mind, and then the subconscious mind can come in. So it's a mental martial arts. So I'm really hopeful to have controlled remote viewers specifically talking about their experiences bringing home missing children, bringing home missing soldiers. And I recognize the vulnerability in all of the presenters, because it's like after you present for me, you might get some phone calls going, hey, can you help me with the next deer hunt? Because if you can bring home a missing child, maybe you can tell me where the herd are, something like that. Let me know where the moose are. Let me know where the fish are. And um, that might be overwhelming. And also the vulnerability, because people really put themselves out there. People telling Bigfoot stories. You want to share your story, but the last thing you want are people knocking on your door the next day with all their Bigfoot questions, right? And so it's important that the speakers at the conference have a safer space to share their stories, and that the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective helps to uphold those speakers so that they can literally just come and share their story medicine without worrying about reporters showing up at their door or stuff like that. I feel like the story medicine I'm after are the overarching themes that we all share. I'm not really concerned about the details. And for story species, story medicine, if you don't publish books, but maybe you dance or you paint, that's still considered a form of art. And I still categorize that as story medicine. So maybe you play the piano and that's how you tell your Bigfoot story or whatever it is. And you could be on story species, story medicine. So typically with the authors, the author reads a little bit, I read a little bit, we have conversation about it. But if, for example, you painted a picture and that's your story medicine, then the expectation is that you talk about the picture and all of the symbolism. And if you dance, like dance moves have a lot of meaning behind them that the general public really can't appreciate. And so it would be really helpful if you showed us the dance. You could do it live and or play a video and then talk to us about the dance moves. For example, I did an interpretive dance called Shedding the Mask at the Full Disclosure Now conference. It was in honor of the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective. There's going to be a crowd, and I thought, well, you know what, might as well do it at the resort around all these people. If anybody else can relate to what I'm saying, let me know. Okay, so I'm really passionate, if you haven't figured that out by now, and I do tend to jump around. So I'll show you this next slide here, Dreaming with Gemstone Gina. So when you see this slide, not right now, but I mean like when it's my main slide and it's the last slide of the month, then you can start sending money in my Buy Me a Coffee account, and I'll do a live mini gemstone reading for you right there on the spot. And as mentioned earlier, I just keep going one after another until everybody's had a turn. So the show could last 5 minutes or 500 hours. And when the show starts, it's a prompt start. So you want to start donating right away. And in this moment, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do, because it would be really cool to have 1,000 subscribers so we can get the super chat going. So I don't remember all the all the YouTube requirements, but the more subscribers you have, it unlocks features like that, and it would really help Dreaming with Gemstone Gina run a bit more smoother than going into the Buy Me a Coffee. When we get there, Buy Me a Coffee will still be available for donations. So I look forward to that. My gemstone reading, it's a one-of-a-kind creation of my own making. And if you wanted to book a private session with me for energy medicine, gemstone reading, soul retrieval, you're not even sure, that's the beauty about booking with me. You really don't have to overthink it. Maybe I'll just show you my business card on that note. This is my business card. So some people, they feel intimidated to book. It costs a lot of money to book with me because I narrow right down and I help you. You get results. Hi, Anchor Haven. Good to see you in the chat. So a lot of people, they're like, I'm scared to book an appointment because ultimately I want soul retrieval, but I don't know the step-by-step process. I don't know how. And I learned a lot of lessons when I did my shamanic training. Soul retrieval is not something that you book and come see me for a one-off session. To be honest, you could do that and you could have success, but that really depends on where you are at in your journey. And maybe you've already done some homework before you come to see me. And or maybe you have a very strong biology of belief and all you need is the one session. But for what it's worth, Dragon Dreamers, my clientele, they need to see me for 3 months to a good 24 months. The one-off session isn't enough because the integration period. And so I like to be really open about that. And I know a lot of folks out there get really excited about hypnotherapy. Me too. It's one of my favorite things to do. Power and simplicity, right? But the mind can only handle one presenting issue at a time. plus the 21-day integration. So to make a long story short, one problem, 1 month. And it's easy to see all the layers within one problem. That's why I always say 3 months to 24 months. And if you look at the paid membership on my Buy Me a Coffee, you can just go month to month because everybody is unique and they are limited, by the way. I think it's just Tuesdays and Wednesdays that I'm available. So what else do I have to tell you? Oh yeah, I wanted to tell you that if you wanted to spend your private doing just a full gemstone reading, we can do that. And that's another reason why you want to see me multiple times. Um, you would see me 2 times a month. I like to do a gemstone reading and basically just gain some ground with you the first time that we meet, and then clear your chakras and rebalance them. That's a good 45 to an hour right there. And then the second session, that's when we would do like a deep dive based on, how our first session went. Everybody's session is a case by case scenario. So let me show you what else I want to show you. I'm excited to show you my books and oracle, but let me show you this slide here. So we had a phenomenal conference, Promise of Spring, March 14th. It was online, it was free, and I'm still buzzing from it. If you're just tuning in now, I made it a point to make lots of little mini videos. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, because as mentioned earlier, we had a number of Dragon Dreamers who just heard about us for the first time on Saturday, and then some just hearing about us for the first time Sunday, Monday. So it's been a real thrill and honor. These dates are all set in stone. The only thing that was to be determined was the summer conference, Season of Dreams. I'm sorry, the summer conference, Dragon Destiny, Friday, July 9th to July 12th in person. Well, you know what? We're going to do it. We're going to do it. So I really need a Dragon Dreams executive committee. Planning the next conference, Summer Days, Saturday, June 13th. Going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy because it's going to be the same format as the first conference, which was a huge success, and lots of compliments about how it flowed, how it was produced. And so why change a good thing, right? It was really important to set precedents so dragons know what to expect. And also for myself from the administration side, what's working, what's not working. And so lots of positive feedback. So for July 9th, it's just a matter of finding some speakers to plug in there. If you're familiar with the routine, during the breaks, we had 6 breaks, and each break had a little mini video. So it would be really cool if one person created 6 3 to 5 minute videos, and then I could play those videos, right, in between. I think that would be really cool. Uh, so I don't really need help planning the Friday, July 9th, other than finding speakers who are reliable, who can commit and send a video in advance of their presentation, just in case we have any tech issues. And we actually, when it was Rick Gallagher's turn to play the singing bowls, we couldn't hear him for the life of us. And thankfully, we had the backup videos to play to keep the conference running smoothly. So that's going to be really easy. Like I said, if anything, it might be a bit tricky narrowing down the presenters because I've already had multiple people tell me, Gina, I want to present at your conference. I don't know which one, but I know I want to present. So I'm like, here are the dates. Please plan ahead. This is for 2026. So if you're really eyeballing December 12th, Season of Dreams, or, maybe September 10th, 19th, Falling Consciously, I mean, if you're really serious, reach out to me and I'll put your name down. And when it gets closer, it would make me feel good if you reached out to me and you were like, hey, Gina, remember I emailed you? That's how serious and committed I am. Planning for the summer conference, I feel like that's pretty easy. It's just a matter of calling a restaurant, calling a hotel. I feel like it would be really cool to get a school bus rented or something like that. London, Ontario has one of those smaller, manageable airports. And I thought it's an international airport as well. And it's about 2 hours from Toronto, 2 hours from Niagara Falls. So if you've never been to Canada, there's lots to do here, lots of natural beauty to explore. We've got Canada's Wonderland as well. Um, but if you come to the conference, it would be in London or surrounding areas. So I really I could really benefit from a Dragon Dreams executive committee to help out with those kind of tasks at hand. The first conference, Promise of Spring, it was free, and Promise of Spring is always going to be free. Every year, it's just standard. It's going to be free. If you'd like to make a donation, great. It's really funny because in my dream journal, Promise of Spring is anticipated to bring in the most money. Not this year because it was the first one, but eventually Promise of Spring is just going to create so much hype that it's going to create more money than the other ones. So the other conferences will cost money. How much? I'm not sure yet, but you definitely want to check out the collective membership in my Buy Me a Coffee, working with Pole Energy here, because there's a little something something about conferences and bonuses in the collective membership. And what else do I want to tell you? Oh, all of them except for the blue one, Dragon Destiny, they're all hosted online. So Dragon Destiny would be in person. So it would cost more money to help go towards the hotel that we got to rent, or some kind of space, some kind of big room where we can play music. And I think it's always nice when you go to a conference and the hotel, typically they give a discount if everybody, stays in that one hotel. And then it's really handy because usually there's an option to rent a room so we can hang out there. And it'd be nice too to have like a little dance party at nighttime or something like that. So I like to hope and dream. And you know what? Even if it's just a handful of us locally here meeting at a coffee shop or at Springbank Park, I'm on board for that. And that's another thing too. London, Ontario has a lot of really great outdoor places. Springbank Park is very popular. It's no problem to rent a tent or to, let the city know that we want a designated space that day for the park. But again, I would need help for this in London, Ontario. And I love the idea of a school bus because I think it would be really cool um, to check in with the airport, people who are landing, and just maybe 2 or 3 times on the 1 or 2 days, make sure that people safely get from point A to point B. And you know what? I think my biggest concern right now is everybody staying together. I'm not concerned about the presenters or what it's going to cost or anything. I just staying together because I know what it's like to go to conferences out of town and you just kind of feel lost. And in a situation like this, there's a lot of dragon dreamers who congregate and they come with their friends, their family, but there's a lot of us who are the oddballs, So you want to make sure you know what you're getting into. So I want to provide as much information as I can. Now we literally, it hasn't even been a week since the last conference, so these details will all be solidified. I'm just getting excited, and this is what our Wednesdays are all about. Just me hanging out live with you, a little promotion, a little FYI. So, um, and all my content is merging together, which brings me to my next slide. Right here. So this slide, it's pretty popular. I have it on my Facebook and my YouTube. This is our special little symbol with the Venn diagram, basil on the left, dragon on the right. So to reiterate, you can follow me, yours truly, Gina, right here on YouTube, Buy Me a Coffee, Facebook. All those platforms are free. I do post on Rumble. I find there's a lot of commercials on Rumble. And you can also listen for free to me read from the Dragon Dreams book series on YouTube. Check it out. There's a playlist. So a lot of people commenting, they like to listen when they go to bed. They fall asleep to it. They have interesting dreams. You're having a campfire, hanging out by the wood stove. Maybe you're sewing or doing whatever it is. You just play it in the background, drawing a picture while you're listening to it. I really delighted in reading it. And if you wanted to buy the books, visit my website, ginavirginiacasella.com. All the information's in the description, all the links and whatnot. And of course, you can register for a private membership on my BMAC or get in on the collective, get in on those bonuses. So let me show you little advertisement here for my books. There's 9 of them. In truth, there's like 50 of them. I just haven't published, was able to publish 9. I still have a lot more. So this is book 5, Sacred Phoenix Heart. And book 5 you can think of as 3 books in one. And not sure if you caught it earlier, but all my books cost the same price. Doesn't matter how many pages, doesn't matter the color that were used. Amazon charges by the page and depending on the color. And I forget what it's called, but I went with the soft cover. So it has like a nice soft, and I didn't want like little thin Bible pages. So they each cost a separate amount to print. And then you get to up the price. That way you can make a little bit of money from them. So I only make a few dollars, maybe $6 at the most, depending on what book you buy. So I think I make $3-4 on most of the books. So I want these books to be affordable, and there's a lot to buy, and there's a lot more coming. So this book series started off as me dream journaling. I was already dream journaling. One thing led to another, and I realized this is about everybody. So it's been a real thrill. And I'll show you the other picture here of the Dragon Dreams Oracle. Oh, and I had a lot of fun making this Canva poster as well, like just turning the cards to that 40-degree angle. Whoa, look at me being fancy, right? Let me know in the comments if you can relate to using Canva or any editing tools. So I feel really proud. It's the dragon's out, you know. Dragon is out, and age 4 Gina's in charge. So there's too much to be said. The book series actually was supposed to be like the first book was supposed to start introducing the Oracle, but I just had so much to say, like, and then the Dragon Dreams Oracle, to put all of that in one little booklet, so hard to summarize. And the magic really, because at one point I was like, how are people going to use my Oracle when they just have a picture to work with? And ultimately, that's all you need. You don't need the booklet. You don't need me to tell you what it's about. You just need to look up the picture, and whatever is buzzing with you, ask yourself, why is this card perfect for me right now in this moment? And each card is stamped. I stamped it with a bloody tampon with my sacred stain. And that really threw people off when I mentioned that, but it seems to have like smoothed over now. But when you find the sacred stain stamp on the card, it really like shifts the energy. I can't explain it. And some cards, on the literal level of snake, some of the cards have a glare from my camera, right? But this is shape-shifting energy going on, because when you notice the glare, you're like, oh yeah, whatever, it's just a glare. But when you really notice it, it just like the way it pops out, it's I don't know how to explain it. It's just a way of knowing. It's like, whoa, there's a presence in there. That is not just a glare. And everybody is going to react and respond to the Dragon Dreams Oracle differently. And I have absolute faith that whoever purchases the Dragon Dreams Oracle, whatever reading they provide, that's what needed to be provided. I will stand by it. Absolutely. And I hope you feel inspired to create your own oracle deck. I'm wondering if I want to create a second oracle or if I want to write more books. That's kind of where I was last night and this morning. I was going through some dream journals that I kept that like I already published, and I ended up throwing it away because I thought I already published this. I don't need to hang on to these images. And as I was going through it, I was like reminding myself about things that I forgot. And I just said to myself, you know what? If I need to remember it, I trust I'll remember it. Like there's this one card, I forget what it's called offhand, but there's one card where there's a bird swimming in the water and there's a fish going up into the sky. And it's about sea and sky being one. There's much to be said about it. But yesterday I came across a little note that I wrote to myself, and it talked about baby Gina and transformation and all this other stuff. And I thought, whoa, like I forgot about all of that. And I thought, well, maybe I should edit the oracle and write a book just about that. But again, I feel like every author goes through this. You just have to accept that, you know. Madonna was really inspiring, actually. I was watching a Madonna video. I just saw it randomly, like a while ago now, but she was talking, like somebody was asking her, like, how do you know when to stop creating a video? Like, how do you know when to call it quits? How do you know when you're satisfied? 'Cause she's so creative, right? And she said that at some point you have to just stop and you have to be satisfied. And when you produce it, publish it, then you just have to accept that it is what it is and appreciate it. And, you know, in 20, 40 years from now, you want to redo it, you can. But the intention is that you work with the belief that whatever you needed to sing or whatever makeup you needed to wear, that it's all working out, right? So, um, wondering if anybody out there can relate. So I don't have any more slides to show you. I think I showed you them all. Yes, I did. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to show you the Dragon Dreams Oracle. So this is the original, and let me just grab the published version over here. My gemstones, by the way, they're sitting by the window. It's the new moon, and I like to put my gemstones and other spiritual tools the in the moonlight. So even though it's a new moon and it's darkness, I still work with the intention that the moon cleanses. And I do make it a point when it's the full moon to put my stuff on the windowsill, but I also put my stuff on the windowsill just as needed. And beware the dewy dampness on the windowsill. Um, one of my kuyas, one of my eagle condor kuyas actually, it's getting smaller and smaller, especially because I spritz my flora water on my mesa every day when I open it. I spritz it on it before I close it, and so I'm gonna have to get a new kuya at some point, and I accept that. You know, it's all part of the alchemy. All right, so I just love talking, but so this is the original Dragon Dreams Oracle, and so what I did is, if you're not familiar, is like I said, I was dream journaling, and you know, sometimes we have to take our own advice, right? Our own tips and tricks. And so I taught a lot of kindergarten to grade 3. That was my domain. And we would journal all the time. And as the kids got older, they didn't really want to spend a lot of time on their pictures, right? And I would tell them, like, if you have extra time, draw a picture, even if it's just a little sketch or a color, like just really brighten up your work, you know? How can you go that extra mile? How can you be creative? How can you show off a little bit? So when your, you know, parent guardian comes for, you know, parent teacher and showing them your work, like, how are you going that extra mile? So we would talk about stuff like drawing a little doodle, right? And then there's the kids that it's all picture and there's like one or two words. And it was a good opportunity to have diversity as well, right? Some people communicate better with words, some people communicate better with pictures. Um, and I also taught them how to make Venn diagrams, and so their journals were quite extraordinary. If your child had me as their teacher, then you know that they got a really good education. And I really put the social emotional first, and it just actually was a thrill. Okay, um, so what I did is I said to myself one day, well, the Gnome King and other guidance, if you will, I was pulling tarot cards and oracle cards, and I kept getting repeat cards, which is a sign to stop pulling cards. And to make a long story short, I wasn't getting insight anymore. And I even felt ripped off. I bought some oracle cards and they did not resonate with me at all. Like people were literally taking emotional literacy words or animals and putting it on a card, and then it's like that's your deck. And so I felt frustrated. And to make another long story short, one thing led to another, and it was like, well, when are you going to start looking in? And it's like, I am looking in, but it's like, when are you really going to go even deep? Like, just when I thought I was going deep, working with the obsidian, it's like, no, you need to go even deeper, so deep into the darkness of the moon, like into the death of the death, life cycle. That's how deep, dark you need to go. And um, I needed to reflect on my dream journal as well, because I needed to reflect on my progress in alchemy. And this images that I drew, I was noticing patterns. Sometimes in my dream journal, I would just do like a pink lightning bolt. I don't know what it means, but I just feel compelled to do that. And then you start making the connection. You start seeing these repeated patterns, like um, when I see certain images or certain colors, I see the color orange. I know that's my spirit guide, Amanda. So if I want to write to Amanda, I'll write with the color orange, right? Toby's color is brown. So I didn't know this. I had to just keep dream journaling and having trust in the process. And then at some point you flip back and start looking for patterns. And then it's like, oh my God, there's different personalities with different colors that I write with. And it's really cool. Even there's a distinction. The light blue, sky blue, that's the blue beings. That the dark royal blue, that's the wise and well whale and orca elders. So um, it's also there's a few who want to claim the dark blue, probably because it was the last color. Hi, She-Wolf. See you there in the chat. So anyways, I ended up publishing 8 books. I wanted to publish the Dragon Dreams Oracle, but it turned into 8 books. And then when my life fell apart, I had my spiritual awakening. Why do we call it a spiritual awakening? We should just call it when life falls apart. But um, I just started going through all of my sketches, and whatever stood out the most, I started drawing pictures on cue cards. So it started off with this size, and then I ran out and I bought this size, and I didn't overthink it. And as I would create these cards, it was a nice way for me to just have a little souvenir of a dream journal that I created. And then I was offering my gemstone reading. I was doing Dragon Dreams Oracle readings for people. And my cards, they were just starting to get, dirty and bent. And I was worried about maybe they would, like when I traveled with them, I really didn't feel comfortable traveling with them in case they got wet or ripped. And there was a need for me to publish them, but I wasn't there yet in my journey. So I just kept making more of these cards. And eventually I had them laminated, which cost a lot of money. And I like it because it's laminated now, right? But it's very sharp and pokey feeling and not comfortable. If you're like me, when I mix cards, I like to go like this. And it's very pokey on my hands. Um, so I felt really pushed to publish them, and I wanted to publish them um, the season of dreams. Like, well, I wanted to publish them like 2 years ago, and then this summer, well, the summer that just passed, the summer of 2025, I'm like, this is the summer these Dragon Dreams Oracle are getting published, right? And it was quite the process. It was quite the process. It was triggering. It was overwhelming to try and, summarize one card. And so the committee of the ones who listen, that's one of the gemstones, by the way, they're like communicating to me, and they said, you know what, why don't you every day take your cards, go outside, hit the record button on Zoom, talk to us, and record what you say, and then the AI will create a summary based on it. And I thought that's a great idea. And then I worked with the summary that the AI created. It was interesting what it included and what it didn't include. And it was a really cool way for me to connect with the committee of the ones who listen. And they brought other guides and committees with them. So it was like me sitting in the yard with all these invisible folks, if you will, listening to me and helping to accomplish this. And then I really was desiring to put the Dragon Dreams Oracle on an app. I I find that's really cool. A lot of, like, I like to have a physical hard copy, and I also like to have the app because um, typically you have your cell phone with you all of the time, and then, well, you just have the app with you all of the time, right? And it's easy to navigate. And just getting the elastic back on here. And so um, I'm still trying to figure out the app. I found one place that I could do it, but I wasn't overly thrilled with the presentation. So let me know if you know of a website that I could upload the Dragon Dreams Oracle onto, because I'm more than happy to offer it as an app. Each card I stamped with my bloody tampon, like I mentioned. So initially I was just taking, like, before I brought it to get laminated, I just took my soaking bloody tampon and I stamped next card, stamp, next card, stamp. And some of the cards I was like mindful to stamp it in a place where you could see it. But then I'm like, no, it's just wherever it needs to go. And so like I mentioned earlier, some of them it's really obvious where the stain is, but some of them, like this one of Lucky, you might have to take a little bit longer. And you know what's really cool? Most of these cards, like this one in particular, when I was drawing this in my dream journal, like for the first time, it was a freaky cool feeling, like it was coming alive. And then when I was redrawing it onto the cue card, it was like really like this manifestation feeling. And it's interesting because if you look at this card of Lucky, you'll notice he's got a lot of purple on him. His paws are, legs are purple. He's got a lot of black on him too. But you see, that's the power of dream journaling. I remember having a moment where I thought, oh no, here I am scrolling back, reflecting on my dream journal. And, you know, I've confused the color black and the color purple. I've got purple sky. Nope, it was meant to be purple, right? It was a communication from the subconscious mind. Uh, my dragon, I thought my dragon was black. My dragon is not black. My dragon is a dark purple color. So when I was drawing Lucky, I didn't mean to, but I kept reaching for the purple, and I didn't even know until I went back and looked at it. And so these are just reasons why you want to trust in the process. So I'm really glad I published them and I followed through with it, because even now, like, I love these dearly, but it just, this pokey feeling, I don't like it. So what am I going to do with these, with the original? I don't know. It has my DNA on it, I guess, from my menstrual blood. So somebody wanted to steal these and clone me. Can they do that? I don't know. Menstrual blood and regular blood's not the same. And menstrual blood is really sacred. And I'll be 45 this August. And so I don't know how much longer I'm going to get my menstruations for. And sometimes, when I menstruate, I think, oh man, I'm in real trouble this month. It's like, just knocks me right out. And that month in particular, I just thought for some reason it's a little extra heavy. Maybe this is like a sign for me to stamp the cards, and then I did, um, and now they are what they are. So that's my story about that. If you're not familiar with it, so this is what the published version looks like. It comes in a double tin container, and when this arrived in the mail, it was just the most fantastic feeling. Inside there was, whoa, whoops! I just dropped most of the cards here. That's all right. Um, okay. So this one here, your smile is the best piece of jewelry ever. If unable to wear it, the inner mermaid will keep it safe. Usually if one or two falls on the floor, I feel like it's worth reading, but it's like most of them fell on the floor. So let me just pick them up. This one, Murphy's Law. Maybe I'm supposed to show you all the ones that fell on the floor. So let me show you those. Ugh. I just think it's funny, you know. Like you're doing like reading cards for people and one flies out and it's like, that's the one. And well, this many like flew out. So before I show you these ones, the reason I was taking them out is I wanted to show you this double tin, because it came with a divider. So you can put like, you know, your cards like this, right? Two piles. And then there was a thing that stuck up. It was made out of cardboard. And I chuck mine. I used it for like maybe a week, and I just found that it was getting in the way. So I'm curious. It came like that by default. So if you purchased the Dragon Dreams Oracle, let me know if you did like me and you chucked it, or maybe you find that little divider very handy. The Dragon Dreams Oracle costs about $200, and the company, they charge about $30 to deliver it. And this is absolutely distinguished from other oracles big time. If you're just tuning in now, you definitely want to catch the replay to discover all the reasons why. And also because I'm telling you, like, creating the oracle, you might think, well, it's just a picture on a card, right? But creating the oracle was way more work and a lot more personal energy being imbued in it than the books could ever even compare. And honestly, like, I've bought tarot cards and oracle cards for $10 or $20, even $5. They have like amazing sales. And now I know, because if you buy 10,000, 20,000, even 50,000 decks, there's a huge warehouse that they just sit in there. So they print it for a very affordable rate. And then as people order, then the company, the middleman, takes care of it all. Well, you can't afford to print out 10,000 decks. So you know what? If somebody out there has their own print shop, you run a business at home, and you can help me print these and make these more available to the public, that would be awesome. Really would be awesome. And the Dragon Dreams Oracle, it's not for just anybody. This is for somebody who really wants to deepen the dive with their own personal growth. And if you buy the Dragon Dreams Oracle, you may or may not want to use it to provide readings for others. You might just want to, keep it for yourself. But these originals, I forgot to mention, these originals, I think it would be really cool, not this summer, but maybe at one of the in-person conferences. I imagine us having a fire at some point, and in celebration, toss these into the fire, right? Something like that. So the Dragon Dreams Oracle, I got the cards that fell on the floor here. Yeah, the Dragon Dreams Oracle comes with cards. These are the ones that didn't fall on the floor. So you just put them in here, and there's 91 cards in total. And I didn't even know, I wasn't even keeping track. I was aiming for 77. I was aiming for 44, something like that. And then I got 91, and I was like, 9 plus 1 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. We're all 1. The dragon is 1. And I thought, this is kind of freaky, the synchronicity. So it looks like that. And I'm also interested what you're going to do with your tin container, because a lot of folks like myself, they just keep the cards in here. You don't have to worry about it so much, like in the cardboard box. And I know some people too, they like to knit their own little scarf kind of bags for their cards, or they have special bags that they pick up or craft together, and they put the cards in there, and then they use the tin can to keep like a lighter and maybe like a few tea lights or something like that, maybe a mirror, a very thin scarf so you can fold it up and keep it in here. I would love to know, maybe a notepad with a little pencil. I just would love to know, really would. So the cards that fell on the floor, let's have a look at them. And I love the cards because I forget the size, but like objectively speaking, I love the size because you can actually hold them in your hands. Their corners are rounded, so they're not pokey. It has a nice bendy material. So can you hear it? So I'm not fancy. People, they go like this with the card tricks, those magicians there. If you can do that with the Dragon Dreams Oracle, send me a video. But it just feels good in the hands. And it was called Eco Herbage. So they were the most environmentally friendly option to choose from. So that option made the cards a bit duller, but that actually worked in my favor because the Dragon Dreams Oracle doesn't have big, bright, vibrant colors, right? And that's because the Dragon Dreamers can't really handle bright colors like that. And also the gold lettering. Um, right now, I just have like the one light on, but usually in the morning, I have a strobe light, so it changes colors. And I find as it changes colors, the images just kind of like certain parts of the image will shine more than others. So there's a lot here. I don't know how many, but I will show you them. And the cards, they're supposed to be blurry. So none of the cards have like a clear image, like the Gnome King here. You can see like the face is all blurred and whatnot. And it was age 4, 7, and 14, Gina, who were behind all of this. So let me take my glove off just to show you the cards a bit better. And some of them, like this one, it's supposed to be horizontal. Let me remove my background so you can see better. Don't judge, okay? My bed's made. I got my blanket there hung up. It's just a thin sheet. Okay. Rosie, she's there. See her? There she is. So I know people who have cats. The cats are always coming in here. So let me just show you these, just quick at glance. So this one was supposed to be horizontal, but in order to um, keep it horizontal, I would have had to shrink it, right? So um, I'm not going to talk about the cards. I'll just show you them. And like I said, it comes with a booklet, and the booklet has, a little paragraph or two about each card. But really, it's whatever you're thinking or feeling. And if you're thinking or feeling something and then you read the card and you're like, wait a minute, this has nothing to do with it, yeah, then it is what it is because it's in that moment. This is the card I was talking about earlier, the ontological imperative. Embrace uncertainty as a pathway to deeper awareness and collective awakening. Trees walk, fish fly, birds swim, get used to it. It's like, we're here, we're queer, get used to it. We walk, we fly, we swim, get used to it. We need a better rhyming word. And I find as the years go by, certain cards tend to present more and more. Last year, Big Yellow Butterfly just seemed to pop up all the time. And this is all based on my real dreams and real life, half remembered, half misunderstood. Um, like I said, if anybody out there knows of an app where I can upload my cards, because they're all ready now. I don't have to create them. They're ready to rock and roll. So it's no problem to upload them so that people can enjoy the Dragon Dreams Oracle on an app. I have not found an app that I'm satisfied with. So let me know if you know of an app. And also, if you know of a company, a website that can print the Dragon Dreams Oracle for a more affordable cost, let me know. This is one of my favorite cards. You don't do stupid anymore. Don't do it. I might have to make more of that elixir. I don't know. Sometimes when stupid is going on in my life, I tell myself, Gina, you don't do stupid anymore. Remember that elixir? Remember, there's a Dragon Dreams Oracle card on it. You don't do stupid anymore. Stupid? No, 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 not you, not you. It's a real thrill, too, to see these on this card, just very wow. And in a perfect world, there would be 91 books because there's 91 oracle cards, and each book that I wrote has an oracle on it. For example, this one here is this book right here. So this book was originally supposed to be like this one card and ended up getting all of this. And I still have more. And if you're just tuning in, there's my YouTube channel, and you can find the playlist where I read from the Dragon Dreams Oracle. So let me know what your favorite card is. Maybe there's a card that you really want to get pulled, but it never gets pulled. Or maybe you find every time you're tuning in, you always see the same image. Let me know. This one here, High Quality Beauty Prayer. This was featured in the March 14th conference. I had a little welcome/thank you video. I played it at the beginning and I played it at the end. And I think that's going to be a standard video for every conference. And it highlights this card because tomorrow is never promised, and it's always hardest for those who are last. And yet, those who are last live like tomorrow is promised. And I find this card to be very touching. Shadows of the Stars. Kind of reminds me of that Iron Maiden song, Shadows of the Stars, we will not return. Humanity won't save us in the speed of light. I got to see Iron Maiden, I don't know, handful of years ago now. They were awesome. So, just about ready to wrap up here. If you're just tuning in, when I took out the Dragon Dreams Oracle, a bunch of cards fell on the ground. So I felt like I should probably show you those cards. And these are those cards. So you can ask yourself, why was this card important for me? Why did I have to pull this card today? In this moment, why is Gina showing me this? What's the meaning there? And I want to show you like this card, for example. Every card has my sacred stain stamped onto it. So there it is there. So when you first look at it, you may or may not see that sacred stain, but when you notice it, it's just like, I don't know, there's like some kind of resonance, gravity kind of takes over. And then this card doesn't have it. Let me find an example that does. Right here. So as mentioned before, I'll just get my pen. On the literal level of snake, yeah, this here is a glare from my camera, because when I took a picture of the laminated, it was shiny, right? And when I was uploading these onto the website to make the oracle to publish, I found myself squashing the sides together, pulling it down to get rid of that. And then at some point it was communicated to me, no, don't do that. There's a ghosty in there. So again, when you look at these cards, you may or may not notice these things right away. And then when you do, it really escalates. And they're all unique in their own way. And if you're wondering why the edges aren't straight, it's because this is how it was. This is how it looked. So some of the cards, I'll show you the original again. This is the original, and then this is the published version. So I feel like the artwork uploading onto this size worked out really well. And then if you can see the shininess, right? And some of the cards, I don't know if folks out there are just tuning in now, but when I ran out of this size, I resorted to this size. So there were a lot of factors and variables. So I don't notice any questions in the chat. I'm going to log off fairly soon. If you wanted to ask me something, feel free to ask me. The dates that I talked about for the conferences, those are all set in stone. Absolutely need big time help finding speakers. If you're interested in being a speaker, reach out to me. And could really use help planning the summer conference. If anybody's here locally in the London, Ontario area, reach out to me. Let's get busy. Let's make it happen. So just put that back in here. Keep things somewhat organized. So now I want to show you my books. You can find them on Amazon.ca. This one, book 1, 40 going on 14. And Amazon, you can find the summary. Again, it was all based on my real life and real dreams, half remembered, half misunderstood. This one here in a nutshell is me going through my shitty time. I recognize I'm having a spiritual awakening. I give thanks and praise to my teaching career. And I also acknowledge the traditional unceded territory of the Latako Dene that are known as the city of Quesnel, because that's where I started to give birth to this process. Initially, the business I was using, the business title was Present Moment Hypnotherapy International. So, and I also start talking about my unmaking that I do, where I meet Manus for the first time, and the females, there's like no females because I was a total tyrant. But I get remade into this 7-year-old little girl, and there's really big, scary guys around me, and I don't really understand why they're scared of me. And then I start learning the reasons why, and it's like, oh. Um, but I've been remade, and I'm the first one of my kind to be unmade and remade, and it's highly controversial, but it works because I live to tell the tale. And um, there's a really beautiful story too about well, one part of the story, the females all want to kill me, and I'm like, oh, great, you know. But then the females, they see me, and they love me unconditionally, and they're like, we need to take her under our wing and train her. And that's where the goddesses really start to, the goddess Bridget in particular, really start to connect with me. And Danny's asking, you did the artwork on the cards yourself? Yes, I did. So these come straight out of my dream journal, right out of my dream journal. And I don't know how long you were tuning in, Danny, but it's really interesting because a lot of times when I was using the color, I thought I was using the color black, but I was coloring with the color purple. And then I thought, oh no, you know, I got a purple sky. I didn't mean for that, but it actually was intended on a subconscious level. So document your dreams, even if they don't make sense. Let time go by, 6 months, 9 months, even a year and a half. Just hang on to your stuff, and then go back and you'll start noticing patterns. So, and Danny's commenting, it's impressive, Gina, and he's some clapping hands. Thanks for that, Danny. So this is book 1, 40 going on 14, and a bit of play on words. Like, you know, you're 40 going on 41. Well, I was 40 going on switcheroo 14, the 1 and the 4 switched, because I started working when I was 15, and when I was 14 years old, I struggled to read and write, and so uh, reading tarot was appealing to me because it was kind of like baseball cards, except it wasn't about baseball. It was about personal growth and archetypes, and that resonated with me. And it was inviting because it was just like a little paragraph, nothing to overthink. And I bought this beginner's kit. It had ruins, tarot, and other stuff I don't even remember. And it really, really resonated with me. Hey, James, I see you there in the chat. This is book 2, Gaining Ground. So exactly that. I start like, what the fuck, right? And I start gaining ground, and my guides really start talking to me. This book has a lot of heartfelt messages talking about lucid dreaming, um, sovereignty, duality. I'm in collaboration with the Grim Reaper. I work with gatekeepers like the Grim Reaper. I have a special connection with the Morrigan. And this, of course, was all freaky because I don't watch scary movies. Like, I have an awareness of folks like the Morrigan, but when I started learning about goddesses and Irish Celtic literature, and that was the thing too, like I come from a Italian, French, Canadian background. If anything, I felt like I should be learning that, not Irish Celtic, and yet I felt the pull, right? My mother's side is also Métis, and I thought, well, if I'm going to investigate anything, you should probably give attention to the Métis side, right? But the Irish Celtic kept pulling me, and that was why, because uh, the goddesses in particular and the Morrigan. So if you want a good summary, hop onto Amazon. This one is Heartfelt Messages. This is another one, Heartfelt Messages. I also get to know my guides. We even talk about things like swearing because, let me put my background back on. So I have conversations with God, and I felt like I was being controversial. Like, who am I to give a voice to God? And I thought, well, biological one known as Gina, and I will give that voice to you, God, because this is my journey and where I'm at. And in my book series, there's never any disrespect or using the Lord's name in vain. But like in this book series, I'm 7 years old consistently, right? And so I don't think it's a good idea for these folks to be using F words and stuff like that, right? But then we actually talk about how if you know how to swear, it's effective, right? And it's too easy to slip into timelessness, right? This one, we get into the Gnome King. Now, the Gnome King, he makes an appearance. He's threaded throughout, but it's this book and really this book too, where we start talking about ETs. So these books, it's all like spirit guides and overcoming hardship, figuring things out, losing ground to gain ground. But then we start talking about virtues and what does it mean to be virtuous. And I don't know how long I was talking for there, but my microphone went out. There's plenty of juice in here. So I hope you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. But this book here, The Gnome King, really, really great book. But I think, they're supposed to stay charged for a good like 4 to 6 hours, but come on. Okay, I'll just put it there. All right. I swear I'm wrapping up. Another 5 hours goes by. I'm out again. Okay, can you hear me now? On now. Okay. So I'm gonna get through these books, okay, even if I have to type out the rest of it. So this one is The Gnome King. So you should buy it um, because it really gets you thinking. And um, so yeah, I don't know when I got cut off, but I talked to God and the Gnome King about free will in this business because it's like, well, in this first book here, all of the females wanted to kill me, and God was okay with this. And God's just like, yeah, because if that's what they want to do, that's their free will. So we don't really get into ethics. God always puts it on us, and so it's just like, wow. And then it's like, well, we get into conversations about control. How much are we being controlled, and how much free will do you really have when you live in this little box? So it just really, like, you want to talk about opening up a can of worms? Like, I lovingly invite you to read these books, and then you gain perspective, right? Because we don't realize how much we're stuck in this way of thinking of hierarchies, for example, this us versus them mentality. That's what the Gnome King calls it, us versus them mentality. And James says, if you get injured doing something and you swear, it releases endorphins. Yeah, because endorphins, that's part of your, what do you call it? Like your metabolism kicking in, like the famous story of a car that rolled over a child and the mother lifted the car. Like it wasn't like, whoa, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but she was able to lift it because of the the urgency of the situation, releasing endorphins, right? So even though it's like a sad thing, like you're getting positive mixed emotions. Anyways, I'm just going on. I think I'm still processing the conference from Saturday, to be honest, and I'm kind of scattered. This one here, uh, this book is a good one. This one is very heartfelt, and this one is really about um, this concept of planet Earth being a zoo. So, are we in a zoo? Do we live in a simulated reality? Those kind of questions. But ultimately, it comes back to freedom and free will, and how free are you if you're living in a zoo, and who gets to decide, and all these questions keep reoccurring. It comes back to sovereignty of self, sovereignty of others, sovereignty of Mother Earth. So just like the baby elephants, uh, they get tied to a tree, um, with a rope, just like you would tie a dog to a tree, right? So it doesn't run away. And the elephant learns that, oh, the rope is limited. It can only go so far. So eventually they take the elephants off the rope. And then the elephant up here, horses are like this too, is my understanding. They don't understand that they're off the leash. So people with horses back in the day, like the cowboys, they walk to the pub or whatever. They got their horse with them. They don't even tie up the horse. They just throw the rope over the fence, and the horse thinks it's tied up when it's not. The rope is just thrown over. Well, with elephants, they don't even have rope anymore. But up here in the elephant mind, they're still limited to that boundary. And you might think to yourself, why the hell doesn't these big, gigantic African elephants get the hell out of there? They don't have to stay there, right? Even though they have a good relationship with their keepers, ultimately the elephants are not free. If you could rewind time back when the elephants were babies, okay, and it's nice to hang out with the humans, but you know what? They like to be free and do their own thing, right? So there's this famous painting. It's like hundreds, thousands probably of years old. I don't know who the original is. Lots of people redo this painting. And it's a big adult elephant running, and it's got a tethered rope attached to a tree. And that's the image, is like, don't wait for the keeper to untie you from the tree. Get the fuck out of there now. You're so big. You can, you start, oh, I'm stuck on the tree. No, you keep walking and you uproot the tree and you run. And eventually that tethered rope tethers and it breaks and you're free. And at this time too, when I wrote this book, this business of the elephant's trunk and the trumpeting and the glory in, like musical instruments, like sticks and stones were original instruments, right? And our breath, our voice, humming. But trumpeting sounds from elephants and roaring sounds from tigers, that was part of music and um, emotion. And so the excitement and the alarm of the elephants trumpeting trumpet. And also there's a song about me, I'm the snake who uses my hands. That's one of the one-liners. And wow, there's so much meaning in each line. And so it's like the elephant's trunk is a snake hand. And I have a special connection to elephants because of this, and other animals as well. So anyways, this book is a good one because it makes you think about those themes, like, are you in a zoo, and are you really being treated kindly if basically your freedom? And I talk about the fool becoming the wise and well fool. So self-doubt, recognizing unnecessary limitations that we often place on ourselves. Much, much, much to be said. I skipped a book. This is book 5. So this book is 3 books in one. And all these books cost the same, $24. It cost me a different price, but I thought, you know what? all the books are $24 in order of 2024 when I first started publishing. And I feel like $24 is affordable for a book. So this one is funny, Sacred Phoenix Heart. I talk about my husband's and other dimensions. Um, it gets really serious. It gets really funny. I gain perspective. There's heartfelt stories in here about the Purple King. I talk about people like Jesus, and I really open up a can of worms. I talk about things like when Moses split the water, like, did Moses really split the water, or did the elemental forces in the water split the water? And working with Moses type themes. Um, I talk about, I personify nature, if you will. And so it's controversial, and I'm not saying this is factual stuff that happened. I'm saying this is interesting information that comes to me through dreams, half remembered, half misunderstood. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm very open about that. So that's where you come in. If you know what I'm talking about, please let me know. And that's Project 30. Project 30, Isis Unity Consciousness, is about all of my content coming together. So these are being transformed into movies. I need help big time, okay? And this book's got some weight on it as well. So if you need a paperweight, you can use this book, and then you can read it and then put it back on your papers. You can use it as a door stopper. There's lots of other purposes. And if you notice, the cover has the Dragon Dreams Oracle. And these books were published before I stamped the cards with my sacred stain. So there's no sacred stain on the covers. What else? Oh, this book too, The Goldfish Dancing on Land. Just such a heartfelt, if ever there was an archetype where nothing could dampen its spirits, it is the goldfish dancing on land. I'm just, wow. The goldfish dancing on land is really like overweight and plump and juice. And I have like teeny itty bitty feet that I stand on. Like my tail is what I stand on for feet. And I just love hanging by the water, and I feel like my big fat belly, and it's smooth and like scaly like a fish. And there's nobody else around other than nature. And so the animals kind of like, like look at me funny. And one day there's ETs that land, and they're in trouble. Like they don't know what food to eat and that kind of stuff. And initially I'm like, well, I should probably stay hidden, but then I'm like, no, I should help these folks out. And I do. And there's also folks who live on planet Earth, but they're not developed enough yet. And eventually they become developed. So I have allies on planet Earth, but then there's other ETs that come as well and cause trouble, and they end up persecuting me. And it's a really grotesque scene because they throw me on the land and I start dehydrating. So I can go on the land, but not for like extended periods of time. And the reason they do this is because this was the time before the moon. And I didn't know there was a time before the moon. So I didn't know what I was talking about. And then I started learning about, okay, there's a time before the moon. Because the goldfish dancing on land is very primordial, very, very ancient. And so I'm fascinated by the sun. I love the sun. And I track the sun because I track the shadows. I'm very fascinated by this. This does not get old for me. And I end up creating big clocks without realizing it. So, like Stonehenge, big circles with rocks. That was me when I was the goldfish dancing on land. Now, I don't know if I actually did Stonehenge, but there's other places here and other places and spaces that I don't even know of where there's big circles, and that's me. Because I'm genuinely trying to figure out this time measurement, right? And at some point, the moon makes an appearance, but the ETs They want to know about my clock. I don't understand what I'm doing. I'm chasing shadows here and plopping rocks where there's change, you know? I'm figuring things out like north, south, east, west, up, down. I'm figuring out mathematics. I'm just fascinated. But I guess they see the shapes from up above and they want to know it means something to them. So anyways, I get persecuted. I get thrown on the land. And when um, I die laughing because nothing can dampen my spirits. I absolutely refuse to let anybody get the best of me. And as I'm dehydrating, I'm like, oh, like something smells good, and it's me. It's me because I'm fish jerky, and my body because I'm dehydrating starts curling, and I'm start like salivating, and I'm like, like, and I actually, I think about it. I'm like, I think I'm gonna take a bite of myself. Like, you know, smells tasty. I look tasty, and the ETs around me, they feel very conflicted. Like they're in opposition about me being persecuted. It's very stressful for them to see me like this. But they have a belief that anytime I'm going to speak, that like I don't have anything else to tell them. And so I actually, at one point, I'm like, with my fin, I'm like, with the little energy I have, I'm like, do you want a bite? Like, you know, I genuinely, would you like to have a bite of my dehydrating fin? And they're absolutely appalled. And then I take a bite and I start eating myself and I die in this state of hysteria where I'm laughing and I'm crying because I just can't believe that like my life is over. And when I die, nature throws a fucking fit. And nature's like, that's it. Like, strip out the goldfish who dances on land. Like, oh my God. So, you know, the seasons, summer, winter, fall, spring. Well, the first fall was in honor of nature bowing to the goldfish dancing on land. And that's why fall is full of orangey colors and red colors, because it's the day that nature recoiled and the colors, um, um, like the green fades when you do that. And the other colors shine out to honor this. So every book has a lot to say. And James is saying Native Americans talked about when there were two smaller moons, then there was no moon, and then there was the fake moon, the good old fake moon. And the fake moon comes up in this series as well. Honestly, it's hard to remember what exactly is in what book until I start like for myself rereading it. Um, yeah, and I'm a huge fan of David Adair. And a handful of years ago, when I was starting to investigate, because you see, before I threw away categories, I thought, you know what? I should probably start watching shows like Gaia and tuning in. Um, because if I'm having interesting dreams about blue folks and Pleiadians or blue folks, and then there's the grays, that might help me communicate. And so I felt very overwhelmed, like I needed to become this expert on all these categories. And I just, at some point, threw it all away. So I feel really awesome and phenomenal when I tell people I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. Okay. So if I'm talking about blue folks, I can't tell you that it's the Pleiadians. Honestly, it's probably not. And I feel like ever since I threw away the categories, it really opened the door because in the ghosty world and ET world, they have their own hierarchies and voices that get drowned out. And so with me, it's like, hey, if that girl can hear me, I'm going to go and communicate with her, you know? So I feel like it's really awesome. This book here starts to get, this book here too, with the Purple King, one of my favorite stories. I got a lot of favorite stories. The story of the Purple King, so heartfelt, and all of the cats, and just his parents killed him, and then the cats like took care of him, and his older brother was raised was basically an asshole because parents were assholes. But then the older brother really changes the ways of the kingdom, and the whole kingdom comes together. And it's a small kingdom for what it's worth. But just you got to read these books, okay? And again, the books cost money. They're $24 Canadian each. So you can find them absolutely for free on my YouTube on my playlist. This one, but I wanted to say this one here gets into conversations about the mummification process and straight up makes me uncomfortable. So yeah, you don't know what I'm talking about. My content makes me uncomfortable. Help me fill in these gaps. This one really starts getting into the ET agenda. The ETs want my advice on things like shapes, composing and decomposing numbers, the number 5, how many ways can you represent that? And I'm just like, you apparently intelligent folks are asking me these kind of questions, but the trouble they're having is that they're too intelligent for their own good. So power is always in simplicity, and they don't have simplicity. They really don't. And they don't like to admit it, but they also really lack in creativity. And they're busted because there's spaceships and whatnot. Like for somebody like me who doesn't know about like technology and that, like it's just, their spaceships are too bulky. And then when I listen to people like David Adair speak, and then I tell them, I'm like, he's like a rocket scientist, and he's admitting that some of the space technology, ET technology, is very big and bulky, and honestly, it doesn't make any sense. Like it should be upgraded, right? It's not. Just stuff like that doesn't make sense. And arguably, those come from ETs that are us. We're the ETs. So lots of different categories. But this book here talks about my colleagues in particular. So going back to the business of the fake moon, I work with the Great Galactic Navy and not the guns type. And that language, not the guns type. There's a man, Tom Tomlinson, who talks about the Navy here on planet Earth. And he also talks about his career and extraterrestrials and this business of a Navy, but they're not the guns type. Now, in my dream life, my guides tell me, like, don't get hung up on names and language. Like, my husband's name in my dream life is Darian. They're like, might not be his name in this waking life. Anybody out there with the name Darian? Are you single? Darian James Greer. That's his name. But anyways, but my guides are telling me like the Great Galactic Navy and not the guns type. Same with them. Like don't get hung up. It's just, working with dreams here might be called something else. But when I was watching TV that one day and then that guy was referring to a Navy and not the guns type, that was freaky. Like not the guns type. What the hell type? Right? And so then we get into conversations about social emotional learning and the importance of emotional intelligence and hypnotherapy, rules of the mind. What's familiar keeps you safe. There's so much to say. And so this Navy, the Great Galactic Navy and not the guns type, they're basically a bunch of misfits that I don't know if they're always in the moon or if they collaborate with people in the moon, but they like I said, they're misfits. They're the good guy, they're the bad guy, and they're coming together and they're uniting and they're putting all their differences to the side because they believe in unity and they don't have to like each other or get along. And there's an importance on being an ally because friendship, when you're dealing with ETs, that it doesn't make sense to have friends because the relationships have unhealthy boundaries. And there's also comments made about like nature and we're basically breaking the rules, if you will, just by collaborating with each other. But that's where we're at in our journey is you have to break rules to alchemized, and we're taking charge of the greater program that we all belong to. And also, there's theories like the biological ones we are, including plants, trees, the very biological planet disappearing. And that impacts the ETs as well. Whether we're on this planet or not, they're struggling with that too. And so we have conversations about clones. I felt very overwhelmed. I was talking to the AI. I would tell the AI, like, I had a dream about this. This is the information that came through. And then the AI rewriter would rewrite it for me, and I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's making sense. That's what I mean. But then it would also provide vocabulary, like the spaghettification process. In this book, I got a bit creeped out because I was explaining, because I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So I'm explaining it to the AI rewriter. And then the AI rewriter talks about soul transmigration, consciousness transfer. And I'm like, "Ugh." And then there's information, like I said, about the mummification process and why people wear clothes that cover their entire bodies, and just makes me uncomfortable. So this final book, which is, um, there's lots more coming. This is book 8, and it's called Scary Dreams. And I feel like the movies I want to make will probably start with book 8. Talks about Luciers, talks about when I was um, like an exorcist on Maker, if you will. At the time, I was using the language exorcist, but that's not actually what I am. I unmake people. There's a difference. And it's both a privilege and a burden that I have this ability, because back in the first book, I was the first unmade and first remade. So it's like now I live and breathe this reality for others. And the picture here, those are the tools that I use. So there's always much to say. Scary Dreams is really scary, and I use they, their, them language. So um, why don't I just read you the summary of book 8? So Dragon Dreams, book 8, Scary Dreams, Gina Virginia Casella's fictional work, Dragon Dreams, is based on her real life and real dreams. Within book 8, Scary Dreams, author shares 3 narratives: Blushing, Possession, and Black Sand, which are based on their experiences with divinity and fear. They believe that their fear of their own self is due to their protective nature, which hinders their progress. Author acknowledges that they are fragmented into numerous identities, including their own, reflecting and projecting various versions of themselves. This fear leads them to perceive themselves as weaker than they are, a realization they find subconsciously grasping. They realize that their core identity, the master program, is not entirely real, and that they have creators who perceive them as an autonomous sentient being. Despite this, they remain open to considering their perspectives, possibly making them God. Trust is elusive, and the author finds themselves in a state of fear and uncertainty. Imagine someone trying to kill you, but not before training you to fight proficiently. Imagine being exposed to truths like the biology of belief, a Lucia's milkshake, the experience of jumping into someone else's body, watching someone turn into black sand, and much more. These dreams are scary dreams. You'll just have to read them for yourself. And if you're not scared, it's just your mind doing its number one job, and that's protecting you. Even making up false inhibiting beliefs like none of this is true. We're the gods we've been waiting for. We're terrifying. So I forgot about that. Black sand. Um, that was freaky. I would fall asleep in front of the um, hi Baron Owitz. It's not an open panel. I'm just, Wednesdays I go live, hanging out with you at 1:30. I'm here for about 5 more minutes. I like to cap it at the 2-hour mark. If you have a question for me, put it in the chat. But black sand, that was really scary because I used to um, spread myself out on the floor, watch TV as a kid, and I'd fall asleep to like Care Bears and stuff like that. And then I would like wake up and there'd be like some freaky ET scene on. And it's like, I don't watch scary movies. I don't watch ET. What gives, right? And one time, uh, there was an ET scientist, very um, focused. Let's just put it that way, very focused. And he was working on this girl, and just like that, her body transformed into black sand. And the way the sand hit the table, it just even bounced a bit. I never seen or heard anything like that in my life. And it's not black goo, to clarify. I hear people talking about black goo. It was black sand, and it was really scary. And anyways, all these years later, I made the connection that, yeah, um, sometimes I wasn't watching TV. TV was watching me. TV was um, like an artificial intelligence was spirit utilizing the television to present images to me. Or maybe I was just dreaming that I was watching it on TV. Who really knows? That's the information that came to me. So it was really nice hanging out with you today. I don't see any comments here. I really enjoy connecting with you. I'll show you my slide again. It's 2026 in case anybody's catching the replay. So for the rest of 2026, you can catch me Tuesdays live, Story Species, Story Medicine, Extra Strength. You can catch me live on Wednesdays. Wednesdays, I just hang out with you. I promote myself. If you have questions for me, if anybody out there has bought my books or you've purchased the Dragon Dreams Oracle and you have a question specific about that, this would be a good time to connect with me about that. And of course, the last Friday of every month, Dreaming with Gemstone Gina monthly marathon. So that's next Friday already, the last Friday of the month. And I go live 11 a.m. for that. So right at 11 a.m., if you want to turn, then you got to buy me a coffee, because the show could last 5 minutes, 500 hours. It just depends. And I'm committed to going as long as it takes until everybody gets a turn. And of course, if you book a private with me, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, that's my carved out time when I'm available to you. And we have seasonal conferences to look forward to. I'll just pull that slide up quickly here. So Promise of Spring was a hands down success. There's lots to say about it. I'm still processing it. Go check out the videos. There's a special playlist called The Conferences, and everything in there is from Promise of Spring. If you also want to just hit the live tab, it'll show you everything that I do live. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube. It helps with the AI algorithms, but also YouTube, they have the super chat, but I believe you need 1,000 subscribers to get that going. So it'd be really cool to get the super chat going. Other dates are listed there, and it's official. We're going to have a conference this summer. And if you'd like to be on the Dragon Dreams Executive Committee, if you're interested in leadership, reach out. If you have experience, especially with technology, if you like making little movies, reach out. I feel like the rest of the conferences online are going to be easy peasy lemon squeezy, because we already have the example to build on from Promise of Spring. So all the hard work is done. Just have to find more speakers. And if you're interested in providing 6 mini videos for the 6 breaks, that could be a really great way to promote yourself as well, right? The videos could be like 3 to 5 minutes maximum. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, watch the conference from March 14th, Promise of Spring, and you can find the 6 videos, Gemstone Insight. It's just something I threw together. We had 20-minute breaks, and so I thought we could have like some kind of fun video. And it could also be entertainment. If somebody out there sings, there's always lots to look forward to. Amongst our Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective, we have ample talent, right? And Dragon Dreamers are not shy. They can be introverted, extroverted, and also uncertain. So there's a lot of Dragon Dreamers right now who are uncertain because they're new, they're kind of feeling us out, and this is just the beginning of phenomenal unfolding, and glad to have it all together. So James is commenting safe travels, and he's got a little wizard there. It's cute. I'll put it up here. And it was St. Patrick's Day yesterday, or maybe it was the day before. So happy St. Patty's Day to those who celebrate it. Happy spring, promise of spring. The real promise of spring is the promise of summer, right? So I got my swimsuits on now, and let me know if you're like me. I wear my swimsuits under my clothes. Like when it's spring, we had beautiful 17-degree weather, but now it's snowing again. It's that time of year. But I'm sure in the next week or two, all the snow will be gone. We might get another snowstorm, but I think it's going to be good. So, all right, Dragon Dreamers. If you're looking for something to do, get a copy of the Dragon Dreams Oracle. Take the deep dive. If you like reading, you've got 8 books here to choose from, and it doesn't matter what book you read first. That's the beauty of the Dragon Dreams or the Dragon Dreams book series. And what else do I want to tell you? Oh yeah, it's free to follow me on Buy Me a Coffee, and then you get in on the emails, and also the free Facebook group, the Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective. Your soul tribe awaits you. So it is my absolute pleasure and honor to hang out with you today, and I'm looking forward to next time. If anybody out there published a book, want to be on Story Species, Story Medicine, reach out to me, and it'd be really cool to start lining up the next speakers for the next conference to have those people have priority on Story Species, Story Medicine. So all right, Dragon Dreamers, I really enjoyed hanging out with you today. Gina Virginia Casella, spiritual biz entrepreneur, master energy medicine practitioner, many things, but ultimately the one behind the Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective and the visionary of Project 30, Isis Unity Consciousness. United are we. Be free. And we'll see you next time.